When I think of Stockholm, I think of a place with a strong Viking heritage, those fierce warriors who ruled the seas. I think of a place that's 1/3 parks, like the one we're standing in now, Gordon, 1/3 city and 1/3 water. Stockholm is a royal city with changing of the guard and a royal palace. It's also an orderly city, and some Swedes say that makes them boring. I find them to be anything but. Come along and let's explore Sweden's capital. One event that people of all ages can appreciate in Stockholm is the changing of the guard. The Royal Guards have been charged with protecting Sweden's royal palace since 1523, and you can watch the pageantry every day of the year. Straddling 3 of 14 islands that make up Stockholm, the Old Town, or Gamla Stan as it's known, has been a meeting place for more than 800 years. Stockholm was first mentioned as a town in 1252 and was largely built by the Swedish ruler Birger Jarl. It grew rapidly as a result of a trade agreement made with the German city of Lübeck. The well-preserved Old Town features the original network of streets, and some of its buildings date from the Middle Ages. The beautiful Royal Dramatic Theater is where Greta, Garbo, and Ingrid Bergman got their starts in acting. Sweden's famed producer Ingmar Bergman also staged productions here. Stockholm is built on a network of canals, islands, and green spaces. The city is said to be 1/3 parks, 1/3 water, and 1/3 city. In fact, one writer coined the phrase beauty on water in describing Sweden's capital. It's certainly one of the most peaceful capital cities and one of the most pedestrian-friendly that I've ever visited. The Swedes have a lot of customs and traditions, and one of those is fika. Now, if you saw that taking place, you would think it's simply a coffee break. But it's actually taking time out with friends over kanelbulle, which is cinnamon bun, and something like a cafe latte. You'll also always find a candle on the tables in Sweden. It's all about quality here in the heart of Stockholm, Gamla Stan. Stockholm has more than 50 world-class museums. One that you don't want to miss is the Vasa Museum. What's behind these doors is going to surprise you. A lot of people step into the museum expecting to see a replica or a model of a 17th century Swedish warship. But what they actually see is a reconstructed vessel that's 98% original. How the ship got here is a fascinating story. In the 17th century, Sweden aspired to become one of the most feared powers in Europe. 4 new warships were commissioned. One of them was the Vasa, and it was to be the most powerful warship in the Baltic. The Swedish warship was outfitted with 64 cannons, 120 tons of ballast, hundreds of sculptures, and 10 massive sails. On August 10, 1628, the Vasa set off for its maiden voyage. The massive ship had only gone 1,300 meters when it was caught in a fierce gust. The ship began to list before capsizing and sinking within sight of the shipyard where it was built. The Vasa remained 100 feet below the water's surface until salvage operations began more than 300 years later. The ship was brought up to the surface from its watery grave in 1961, then restored to create the only museum of its kind in the world. Many artifacts were found in the deep freeze of the harbor, including butter whose expiration date had long passed. The pride of the Swedish military lives once again in Sweden's most visited museum. We had a great day in Stockholm. We got to visit gorgeous Gamla Stan with its colorful buildings and narrow streets. We went to the Royal Palace and saw the changing of the guard. We walked through the parks at Djurgården and saw the awe-inspiring warship at the Vasa Museum. I'm Ralph Grizzle, and I'll see you in the next beautiful destination.